The church bells tolled like thunder, each sound a hammer on my chest. The smell of lilies mixed with rain, and the weight of the sky matched the weight in my heart. My 7-year-old son, Caleb, clutched my trembling hand as we walked toward the 2 tiny white coffins at the front of the sanctuary. The twins, my babies, gone. People whispered, some pretending to pray, others staring at me like I'd done something unforgivable. I could feel the judgment slicing through my skin. This wasn't how it was supposed to be. 2 months ago, the twins were alive, giggling and babbling in their cribs. 2 months ago, I still believed my family was safe. But today, as I stood over their lifeless bodies, I realized I had missed every warning sign. And as I looked down at Caleb's wide, determined eyes, I had no idea that in a few minutes, he would stand up in front of everyone and expose a truth that would turn this entire funeral into a courtroom. It all began with trust, the kind of blind trust you give your own mother. My mom, Helen, had always been the caretaker. When I became a single parent after my husband walked out, she swooped in like a hero. She was there for every late-night feeding, every diaper change, every doctor's appointment. She said she loved my kids like they were her own. And maybe she did. But love can hide dangerous things. The twins were born premature. Their pediatrician warned me to be extra careful with what they ate. I followed every instruction. Sterilized bottles, measured formula precisely, avoided anything new without asking the doctor first. Mom said I was paranoid, that babies needed real remedies, not doctors' nonsense. She had raised me on her own, after all. She insisted she knew better. I didn't know she had started adding something extra to their bottles. At first, the changes were subtle. The twins cried more than usual after feeding, then slept unusually long stretches. They seemed weaker, less interested in crawling or babbling. The pediatrician was puzzled, but blamed it on their prematurity. Mom brushed me off every time I raised a concern. "They're fine, you're just stressed." One night, Caleb woke me up. His little voice trembled. "Mommy," he whispered, "Grandma put stuff in the baby's bottles when you're not looking." I blinked at him, half asleep. "What do you mean, sweetie?" He bit his lip. "Like powder. Not the milk powder. Something else. From a little brown jar. She says it's to make them sleep." My stomach dropped. But exhaustion and denial are powerful. "Caleb, you probably imagined it. Grandma wouldn't do anything bad." He looked at me for a long time, then nodded silently. I kissed him, told him to go back to bed, and convinced myself he was confused. That was my mistake. 3 days later, both the twins were rushed to the hospital. Severe respiratory distress, the doctor said. They asked about their feeding, any exposure to toxins, any medications. I told them everything I knew, but left out Caleb's story because I couldn't believe it. The twins didn't make it. My world shattered. The police investigated, but found no clear evidence of foul play. Without proof, their deaths were labeled complications from prematurity. Mom cried harder than anyone, held me as I sobbed, whispered, "We'll get through this." And then came the funeral. Rain pounded the stained glass windows as mourners filled the pews. My mother sat near the front, clutching a handkerchief, playing the role of grieving grandmother. Caleb sat beside me, unusually stiff. He kept glancing at her, his jaw clenched. As the pastor spoke, I noticed Caleb's small hand shoot up. At first, I thought he needed the bathroom. But then he stood. His voice, soft but clear, cut through the murmurs. "I have something to say," he announced. The pastor paused. Everyone turned. My heart raced. Caleb walked slowly to the front, his sneakers squeaking on the wooden floor. He stood between the coffins, looking like a soldier facing an army. "Grandma put stuff in the baby's bottles," he said. "I saw her. She said it would make them sleep, but it made them sick. She did it every time Mommy left the room. A gasp rippled through the church. My mother's face went white. "Caleb, stop making up stories!" But Caleb didn't stop. He pulled something from his pocket, a tiny phone, his old hand-me-down tablet with a cracked screen. "I recorded it," he said. "I didn't know what it was, but I recorded it." He pressed play. The audio filled the church. My mother's voice. "Just a pinch. They'll sleep like angels. Don't tell your mom, okay? She worries too much." The sound of powder being stirred. A baby's faint cry. People gasped louder. Someone called the police from the back row. My knees buckled. I turned to my mother, but she was already standing, trembling, eyes wild. "It's just herbs. Harmless. I was only trying to help." The pastor froze, unsure whether to continue the service. Two men from the congregation stepped forward to hold my mother as she tried to leave. Caleb clung to me, crying now, his bravery spent. Police arrived within minutes. They took the recording, asked questions, and led my mother away in handcuffs right there in front of the coffins. The image seared itself into my memory. The woman who raised me being escorted out as mourners whispered and cameras flashed. Later, tests confirmed what she had been giving the twins. An old homemade sedative she had used on me as a baby, laced with unregulated herbs and alcohol. For fragile preemies, it was lethal. She claimed she didn't know. She said she only wanted to give me rest. But her negligence had killed my children. I don't remember much of the rest of the funeral. I remember collapsing beside the coffins, sobbing into Caleb's hair, whispering, "I'm so sorry. I should have listened." I remember people touching my shoulder, their faces pale with shock. That day changed everything. The investigation turned into a criminal trial. The media swarmed our town. People debated whether my mother was evil or misguided. But through it all, one thing became clear. My 7-year-old son had done what no adult had dared. He had spoken the truth, even when it tore our family apart. Months later, when the verdict came, involuntary manslaughter, I sat in the courtroom holding Caleb's hand. He looked up at me, his eyes older than his years. "I just wanted to protect them," he whispered. "You did. You did more than I did." We buried the twins in a quiet place under a big oak tree. No cameras, no strangers, just us. Caleb left a toy truck between their headstones. I left my mother's locket, broken in two. And now, every time I tell this story, I tell parents, listen to your children. Trust your instincts. Don't let anyone, not even family, convince you to ignore that voice in your head. If something feels wrong, act. Because silence can kill, and truth, even from the mouth of a child, can save lives. Caleb is 8 now. He still has nightmares, but he also has courage that humbles me. He wants to be a doctor someday, to make babies better. And every time I tuck him in, I thank him for being braver than I was. If you're watching this and you've ever doubted your gut feeling, if you've ever let someone override your instincts about your kids, please learn from my mistake. Protect your children. Ask questions. Speak up. And if this story moved you, share it. Someone out there needs to hear it before it's too late. Because secrets buried in silence can destroy a family. But truth, no matter how small the voice, can break it wide open and set the innocent free.